Feel like we're on the witness stand.
Well, you kind of are. And hey, welcome
Yeah.
everybody. My name's Alan Thomas and my better half, Angie Thomas, and we're with Rethink Dieting. And we have got a special treat for you guys today. We've got Dan and Debbie Deuser with us. And Angie, if you just kind of introduce.
We're so grateful that you could be with us this afternoon. You've been with us on your journey, and we just want to hear all about you. We want you to tell us a little bit, and everyone that's watching this Facebook Live or will in the future, tell us a little bit about yourselves. And we appreciate it so much you being here.
Where are you from?
Yeah, where you're from, what you do,
and the witness thing that you mentioned on the stand. So, what crime you committed? I hope you didn't commit a crime. So, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Debbie, and we live in Prescott, Arizona, and I'm originally from Chicago, but we've lived in Arizona since 1987, so it's definitely been our home for quite a long while. And we were very happy to be part of Alan and Angie's Rethink Dieting program. It's really changed our life in a lot of ways.
Cool.
And my name's Dan. I'm Deb's husband, and originally from Minnesota. And again, Deb has covered all the Prescott, Arizona stuff. And I wasn't real happy to initially be part of Rethink Dieting because I was nervous because we've done weight loss, methods before, and sometimes would lose weight and then gain it all back, or we would I'd be motivated for about a day, and then the heavenly cheeseburger or whatever the case it might be would call my name, and I would lose track. But we've been doing this since February 11th, and it's been a great learning process, which is kind of the key. It's not necessarily about methodology, but rather learning about ourselves that works for each other as individuals and as a couple, because we undertook this journey as a couple. That's why we're both sitting here speaking with you. So,
yeah, no, and we want to dive into a lot of that, and that's awesome. So, the drill here is that the questions are really simple, but but I want to dive in. Number one, you did this as a couple, which that's what Angie and I did it as. What kind of we were ground zero, I guess you might say, with it. But you guys did this a couple. So tell everybody who's listening, what was it like before Rethink Dieting? And you told a little bit about that, Dan, but you and Deb, jump in and kind of share that piece of it, because I think that's important for people to know.
well, dieting off and on has become a hobby in a sense because I used to be very thin and athletic, and then I found at some point around in my mid 30s that I couldn't out exercise my diet, and yet it began with a pound here, a pound there, gaining weight, and I know I don't look it, but I am 60 years old.
You don't. You're right. You don't.
So at any rate, I've had a lot of years to gain 1 pound here, 1 pound there, and then I started suffering health difficulties. Some unavoidable, but a lot of it was either caused by being overweight or exacerbated by being overweight. And and frankly, for myself, we'd be all motivated to try some method, and I'm talking over the course of 25 years now. Um, and it would be great for a while, and then we'd either fall off the wagon, or I would, or my wife would, or we both would, because we hopped on the same wagon. Um, but it was discouraging. I mean, every time you do this rebounding, lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, and um, so you and on one level you recognize that, yeah, I should be able to make changes, but on the other, more emotional, illogical point, you say, well, I'm just I can't do this, or I can't make changes, and then you start self, I don't know, I can't think of the term, but you start
Sab-
crucifying yourself, you know.
yeah, well, there you go. That's more powerful than sabotage. That's right.
I have a weak character, or I'm not disciplined enough, and I'm all for discipline, but it's a simplistic point of view, and so it becomes a cyclical thing where I need to lose weight, I want to lose weight, but then I fail, and you get discouraged, but then you find maybe the latest diet trend to, eat 1,000 grapefruit in a month, and you'll look like Brad Pitt or something in my case. So that's how it
That's
was
right.
with me.
That's right.
You know.
We
No, that's
didn't
all.
actually try a lot of different diets. Probably over the years, we did South Beach for a while, and they have a lot of good healthy recipes, but they restrict certain foods too. And then for one stint, we did 40 days of the Whole 30 diet, and that was even more restrictive in terms of foods that you could eat. I mean, what they on both of those two diets, what they had you eating was a bunch of really good healthy things, but there were a lot of things that you couldn't eat. And so pretty much after we did the whole 30, and we had signed up together to go to a CrossFit gym at the same time as we were doing the whole 30. But pretty soon after we reached our 30 days, we went actually till 40, because it's a 30-day program initially. Then we pretty much went back to our old eating habits. We lost a bunch of weight, but because we were doing the CrossFit and the dieting at the same time, but it really wasn't sustainable for us. And we're
Well,
both stress eaters. So anytime we're stressed, we want the comfort food. And so that was kind of bad. So
no, and wait a minute. Hold the phone here, because this is really interesting. So you did all these things, and wait a minute. You're down how much since you started, Deb? And with Rethink Dieting, how much you down, if you don't mind saying?
since I started Rethink Dieting, I'm down 35 pounds, but just a few months before then, I was up, almost 10 pounds more. So totally since my heaviest, I'm down like 53 pounds.
Wow. And you're 6'3". I think you're like super tall, right?
Yeah,
You're 6'3". No, I'm kidding. How tall are you? Don't mind saying. How tall are
I'm
you?
5'4".
5'4". Cool. And so and you were told in Rethink Dieting exactly what to eat, right? Is that what happened, or did I get that wrong?
You totally got that wrong. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
So says you never were told what to eat. In fact, there's this concrete plant near you too that you even ate at some, right? Tell people
Yeah.
about that concrete plant.
yes, our favorite place, which is fortunately or unfortunately, however you choose to look at it, is only about 2 miles
Or,
away from
or
here, is Culver's, and they have something that's called a concrete mixer, which is vanilla custard with whatever toppings you want and flavors all mixed in. So very delicious, but very fattening. But we
and
still have
and you women, hang on, and you still lost weight occasionally having something. Now, obviously, you didn't have it every day, every meal, and all, but you still lost weight. You're down to the lowest you've been since how many years?
probably at least 40 years.
And you had concrete mixers. Now, I'm not telling. Now, disclaimer: I'm not telling people to go eat concrete mixers every day at Culver's. Okay, but the difference here, because this is really important, because what you just brought up, and I love that, is that you made a decision. You didn't go on a diet this time.
No, we didn't. We still ate all the foods that
Yeah,
we like. I mean, we cut back for sure on quantity
sure.
and frequency of those fattening foods, but we we still pretty much ate whatever we wanted to eat.
Yeah. Do you remember do you remember the first time you came in with your head hung low and you told Angie and I you'd had the concrete mix? You remember what we said?
You were excited.
I'm like, yes, you figured out that you can live. And I'm not saying that you eat this every meal. Anybody listen to this, don't go to Culver's and eat five times a day and think you're going to lose weight. But but at the end of the day, you made a decision. So I mean, that's amazing. So what do you think the chances? Well, before I'll go there, but I don't want to go back now. Dan, you have a strategic bakery in your life too, right?
That's true.
The
Oh,
Peavine
yes.
Cafe.
I'll give a plug for the Peavine Cafe, where I work, which is a library. Very good food. I can attest to that.
And you keep telling me that well, I won't say go there, but you keep saying that I'm not sure if it's working. And how much are you down since you started Rethink Dining?
38 pounds.
38 pounds. And you live and you work by a bakery basically where you can smell what kind of cookies? What can you
Oh,
smell?
chocolate chip cookies. I'm like 20 feet from that aromatic ambrosia, So
And you still figured it out. Go figure. Okay. So I love that. So and again we cheer that on. Angie and I cheer that because you realize that people talk about lifestyle all the time. We hear that a lot, but it's really not the lifestyle, it's the decision to change. And so you guys have done phenomenal. So I'm curious, you came in with a lot of diet baggage, I guess I would call it. Would that be an accurate term?
Yeah, I think America in general has a diet baggage. I think you'd be hard pressed at this point in time to find people that haven't tried the old diet
Sure.
scene. And I wouldn't say, and I know you and Angie say this, whatever works for you. It's I think the most important thing that we took from this is, some people do keto and it works great for them. Some people do Whole30, works great. Some people do intermittent fasting, awesome. So what for me personally, coming into this program and in doing it along with, we found what works for us, and we're still figuring that out.
Sure.
And so we like a variety of food, and that seems to work well for us.
Yeah.
And yet using the thing on top of your neck to think and say, well, I can't have a concrete mixer 5 days a week, which is somewhat sad, but we realized through the course that we didn't starve ourselves, not even close to starving ourselves. We enjoyed what we ate. We just the very fact that we kept track of our actual calories, which it gets easier every day we do it. It's a process, but it's just something we do, like brushing our teeth, which we do on a regular basis. I'm sure you'll be happy to know.
And you shower too. I heard you do both, right?
Once a week, whether I need it or not. So we just kept track. The very fact that we kept track of our caloric intake, it causes both to realize, probably especially me, that I probably was eating double the amount of calories that I do now, and yet even with that, I'm not wasting away. I'm not starving. Because if I was hungry all the time, I would not be able to do this. I don't have that.
And just to piggyback on that too, and it's not, for some people it's the caloric, for some people it's the macro, for some people it's the eating window and all, but it's about really becoming that expert on yourself, and you guys have done that. So hats off to you. You've done amazing. You really have. And it's so fun to watch. But I'm curious now. I mean, kind of walking through that, what changes have you seen take place that maybe don't even have anything to do with food or exercise? Has there been, and I don't know and this is a question you knew were going to be asked, but I don't know what your answer is, so I have no clue what you can say. But anything in particular that you've seen an impact of? I know the weight piece, but obviously you guys are down together over 80 pound cumulative over 80 pounds. And so, but what other areas has it impacted?
Well, for me, it's still some of that's waiting to be revealed, but I know this is related to the obvious, the lost weight, but just being able to move easier.
Oh yeah.
I do yard work, not as much as I should, but I do it, and just getting in and out of the bed of my Dodge pickup, when I'm loading brush or rocks or whatever. Simple things like I don't typically lay on the floor, but sometimes I do manage to find myself kneeling or something at work or working around the yard and just getting up and down, going up steps. And I think from a emotional, mental standpoint, dieting for me has always been one of those grand obstacles. Let's reach the mountain peak and just short of the summit, and get close, but then I fall down the slope and I have to climb back up, and it reveals that as difficult as this obstacle seems, and I use that carefully, seems, because it's not as difficult as I anticipated. It requires, some, and I know intention is often used word, but, i.e. counting calories and some decisions, but it's not as difficult as I once anticipated. And it opens up kind of it's like being on that mountain peak and looking around, and it reveals to you that, okay, I did this. It wasn't perfect. I've had more concrete mixers than I should have, but I've also lost weight in the process. But it reveals to me that you can do other things. Everyone has goals or hopes or desires, and if they can, tackle this, and then they can think, well, what next? What have I been wanting to do or something? So it kind of just opens up that vista, that perspective that, hey, if I can do this, maybe I can do this, and it breeds a little bit of confidence, maybe a lot of confidence. I mean, that just that other things are possible. If I can do this, I can do X, whatever that might be. Deb, do you have anything?
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel definitely a lot more confident. I think I'm standing a little bit taller, and makes you think that the other things that seem to be obstacles in my life maybe aren't that big after all, and maybe they really are achievable. And definitely moving a lot better. I had a lot of foot pain because I had some foot surgery years ago, and my foot pain is totally gone. And I've had a couple knee surgeries too, and my knees are a lot better. So yeah, I'm just feeling a lot better in general.
That's awesome. We always learn something when we ask these questions. I had no clue about the foot pain. That's incredible. Good for you. That's huge.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So now, kind of looking forward, here you are. You're, Dan, like me, Dan and I are the same age, and we clearly married, much younger ladies, about, that are far, far younger than us. And so now when you look to the future, I mean, what do you think you said a phrase that I'm going to piggyback on. You said it makes some things possible. What do you think it makes possible now as you go forward, and you don't have this monkey on your back that you weren't able to defeat in the past, but now you've crushed it, and you guys have done amazing, by the way. And so, what does it make possible now?
Well, that's difficult because I still have approximately 12 pounds to lose. I might go lower than my original goal just to see how I feel, which you and Angie mentioned when we started this. Set a deal. There's no quote unquote ideal weight. It's what you consider as an individual, and you meaning Debbie and I in this case, would be the weight you want to get down to. But then you can adjust that. So, and I probably will adjust it maybe slightly lower because of how I'm feeling, not because of aesthetics. I mean, I would like to look like Tom Cruise in the new Top Gun movie, or Brad Pitt. But
There you go. That'll work.
I'm willing to, sacrifice that. But it is always nice when people comment, "Hey, you lost weight." Yeah, I stand up a little taller and puff out my chest a little bit. No, not really, but it does feel good. So what's possible? I think we all have challenges, and there's challenges that I've been dealing with for years. I have some health issues and such, and sometimes in my case, you get discouraged. I know that's hard to believe, but when you deal with health issues and then you start seeing the positive effects of losing weight, you start realizing that I don't believe everyone can do everything they set out to, but I think with maybe a little bit more positive perspective on things, you can do more than you could if you were kind of just hopeless about making change. And again, this whole how they say success begets success. Well, change in one area could lead to positive change in another area, whether it's stopping a bad habit or maybe taking up a new habit. I don't have really any specifics in my life, what I'm thinking, but again, just having that mindset, I guess, that, okay, a lot more things are possible because this was possible.
So what would I got a quick question? What, not to interrupt, but so you said you got 12 more to go. You've lost or released, really. You haven't lost, you released it. If you tend to look for things you lose. So so you released at least almost 40 pounds. What'd you say to somebody that says okay, come on, Dan, here you are, you're 60 years old, you're the lowest weight you've been in years. There's no way you're going down another 12 pounds. What would you say to somebody that says that to you?
Well, when I started this, I wasn't particularly confident that I would tend to agree with them. I mean, my wife discovered this program, and she kind of, hey, this sounds interesting. You want to do this? And I'm thinking, oh, if I know what's good for myself, I'll say yes. No, I didn't say that, but we were both willing to lose, wanting to lose weight. And I said, well, what do we have to lose, So I really didn't expect to sign up for the program because I thought, well, but when we discussed it, had our little family discussion, we kind of did the return on investment type analysis. And, because of my health issues, because of some other issues, we thought, this is a good investment. It's a good investment ourselves. So, but now, after having done this for approximately 7 months, it's a lot like a lot of other challenges in your mind. It's like the Goliath in your life, but it wasn't as difficult as I anticipated. And I think it was Montaigne that said, my life has been filled with many terrible misfortunes, most of which never happened. On a similar vein, this would have seemed overwhelming, say, January 2022, mid-February 2022, but we just applied principles. And what I mean by principles is not, again, a specific diet, but okay, let's track things. Let's track our calories, see how that does. I didn't really track macros. I tried it, and I thought, I don't see that that's making a big difference in my life. So I just went to straight calories, and yet Deb tracked macros more than I did, but I tracked exercise more, and she lost weight faster than I did. She didn't exercise very consistently, whereas I was more consistent. So that comes from individuality. So it just taught me that, it might seem overwhelming, but as they say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
That's it. So what would you say to the person saying, no way, Dan, you never make it? You're not going to make it. What would you say?
Well, I I'd say, yeah, I can make it. I mean, and it's not because I have all this. It's just because now I have 6 months of experience to look at and say, well, my heaviest was 222. I started the program at 216, and again, while it does take some, discipline
Sure.
and such, it's just the small steps. We started
So it
recording.
so would it be fair to say that a man with an experience is not subject to a man with an opinion?
Well, we can all have opinions, right? But
Uh,
I think
but you don't become subjected to that.
I
That's
think experience showing it's kind of like Steve Bannister breaking the 4 minute mile. It was an
Mhm.
impossible feat in everyone's mind. They thought you have your heart would explode, and yet he did that. And then shortly thereafter, numerous people began making the 4 minute mile. So for me, I'm no more special than anybody else that may be listening to this, or any of the other people I've met doing this program. I frankly think most of the people I met doing this program, they're an inspiration to me. I'm just an
Mm.
average guy, but it does show that, okay, just you break it down into small steps. You try something, if it doesn't work for you, then try something else. And it's just that consistent. Let's see if this works. If it doesn't, you don't, give up. And now it seems much more possible. The big question I think everyone has is, will I gain the weight back? And Debbie and I have been talking about this, and really what we're doing is not so difficult, not so arduous and cumbersome that we can't continue this the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
And it's
I mean,
really
you can
not
still have a concrete mixer. You can still have a concrete mixer, right? So I
exactly.
just love the name of that. I'm not doing advertisement for Culver's, but they got the coolest name of all for ice cream. So that's just
Yeah,
funny.
they do.
So,
So I
no,
think
that's
that's what it means to me is just like, you break it down and you take one step at a time, one day at a time, one meal at a time, and don't get overly obsessed, but just, do what you need to do. So.
well,
Really,
you
the
and
lessons are ones that can be applied for achieving any goal because you just keep going, you make steps every day, and if you mess up, you start over again. You just keep going. You just keep plugging along, and you don't let that derail you and give up. Because then you'll never get anywhere. You just keep plugging along, and um, just being consistent and continuing to make progress is the way that you achieve any goal.
Right.
mhm. No,
And
it's spot on. And you, like I said, you guys have shown up. Y'all have done the work, and the work. When I say the work, I'm not talking about the the food rules or the exercise. Well, it's fine to, but all that's necessary. You got to have some of that, but the pieces of the mindset that it takes to reach and maintain your ideal weight. So fantastic job, guys. And really, really, any questions?
Yeah, I was going to say, Debbie, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Do you want to add
And
anything else?
I think a component that we haven't mentioned is just other people. We all, especially in America, I think we like to think, the rugged individualist and all that, and that's important. But I think, one of the primary components of this particular program is you have people, you have accountability partners, for lack of a better word, who are not going to, chastise you to millions, but it's more like, just they're accountable, but they're gracious. And then just hearing the stories of other people in the program that are act as an encouragement. Oh, I blew it this week, and I blew it this day, and yet here they are. I'm looking at them over one of our Zoom calls, and their head hasn't exploded or anything like that. And so I think that is a huge component, just having a combination of encouragement and accountability with other people, um, and showing you what's possible. Because I've seen people in this program that have lost far more weight than I have, or have more weight to lose, but which could cause him to be more discouraged. But here they are doing the steps, and the steps, I mean, learning about themselves, trying this and how that worked, but that didn't work. And all the while, I'm learning from them and being encouraged and saying, hey, they didn't give up, or they're doing this really well. I can stick to this. So I think that's a huge component, just having other people on board, encouraging and in a sense, keeping you accountable.
Yeah, the accountability factor really makes you think more about what you're putting in your mouth. And even now that I've reached my weight, still I'm posting on my Facebook page every week. And that makes me think, what am I going to show up for on Mondays? Am I going to be, gaining weight back, or am I going to be staying the course? So that the accountability definitely is a good factor.
And you guys have come so far. I mean, I wish you could go back and hear through our ears what we've heard, how far you've come, and and it's not just the pounds. I mean, the pounds are excuse the food metaphor, the icing on the cake. I mean, it really is. It's the internal change that you guys have both exhibited and done it as a team too, which is like Angie and me. When we lost ours. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, did you all find it's much easier to do this? I know, Dan, you alluded to you do everything together like we do. And it is so much, if you're a couple, speaking to any couples that might be watching, it's so much, more comforting to know you've got your spouse or a loved one cheering you on, knowing exactly what you're trying to achieve and really being there to be part of it. And you both are reaping the benefits of each other.
Right.
Many more years of bliss together.
That's right.
So, by taking control of our bodies and taking care of the temple that God, what God gave us to manage. So
yeah, it would have been a lot harder if only one of us was doing it. So I'm glad that we did it together.
Right.
Oh yeah. Well, we're thrilled that y'all did it.
a
And
blessing to the group.
oh yeah, for sure. And us too, yeah, no doubt. So it's been awesome seeing your journey as it unfolds, and we'll be looking for all the more stories out of you, because I know you got a lot of plans. What's going to happen as you move forward in these lighter bodies that you've created. So great job with that. And for those of you that are watching, then if you can go to rethinkdieting.com, and it's on the screen, and check out the exact same training that Deb and Dan saw back in February, and really walks you through a step-by-step strategy of how we walk our clients through their weight loss journey. And then if you're wanting more support, you can go check out transformmyfuture.com/supply and schedule a free breakthrough session. And on that session, we map out a step-by-step strategy to get you from where you are to your ideal weight. And it's really about what's going on with you, and everybody's different. And so go check those out. And gosh, Dan and Deb, it has been so fun having you here in the program. So fun watching you soar. And again, we look forward to seeing all the things and seeing you at Culver's once in a while. We got one here in Amelia Island, just off the island now. So I'm kidding, but we check it out occasionally too. So, all right, guys. Well, God bless and have a great day.
Okay. God bless you too.